This is a primer on cultivation theory and message system analysis.
Ooh, piece of candy.
Cultivation theory, which was proposed by Gerbner and Gross in 1976, basically said that television, and later mass media more broadly, cultivates shared conceptions of reality among audiences, particularly heavy viewers. It was much more focused on TV violence early on, but has more recently been applied to socio-political categories like gender, race, political orientation, etc., and has, again, been extended far beyond just television. If you want to see a very good explanation of cultivation theory, a good application of it, check out the video Real Bad Arabs, How Hollywood Vilifies a People, featuring Jack Shaheen. So some key terms of cultivation theory. Well, first there's cultivation analysis. This examines the relationship between television exposure and audience perceptions and attitudes. Next, we have message system analysis. This is a content analysis of television to identify recurring patterns, images, and messages. According to Gerbner's framework, the message system refers to the overall body of symbolic content generated by media. It is analyzed holistically because the repetition of patterns across genres and outlets is really what cultivates a shared worldview. The message system is treated as a cultural environment of stories, norms, and symbolism that audiences internalize as reality through regular and repeated viewing. Next, we have thematic patterns. These are basically recurring stereotypes, motifs, and narrative structures that emerge from a message system analysis. For example, violence is a primary means of conflict resolution, minorities often appearing in the subordinate or criminal role, women depicted in domestic or romantic contexts, but not in business contexts. By tracking such patterns across large samples, Gerbner's team showed how television systematically organizes symbolic life, privileging some themes while suppressing others. An institutional process analysis is a specific type of analysis that can be done as part of a cultivation analysis. This is basically an investigation of how and why media institutions produce the messages they do. Terms and concepts closely related to this are agenda setting, media framing, and various frameworks like Chomsky's 5 filters and propaganda models. In essence, this level of analysis is focused on underlying forces that motivate certain messages. Remember that messages are choices, and choices have reasons. This looks at those reasons. Another term is mainstreaming. This is the process by which heavy television viewing pulls individuals from different backgrounds, different classes, races, politics, religions, toward a homogenized worldview that is aligned with the television message system itself. For example, heavy viewers across ideological lines tend to converge on more fearful, violent, and stereotypical perceptions of the world, regardless of their real-life differences. Message system analysis looks for patterns that explain what gets mainstreamed, how it gets mainstreamed, why it gets mainstreamed. Some related terms are echo chamber, media silo, and more broadly, enculturation, acculturation, and schismogenesis. Another term is resonance. When media messages are congruent with viewers' lived experiences, this amplifies the cultivation effect. That is, when media viewers see a message and they say to themselves, "That makes sense with my experiences," the cultivation effect is even stronger. Some related terms are theories like Stuart Hall's concepts of encoding and decoding, especially the notion of how audiences read media they consume. We've also got this idea of first-order and second-order cultivation effects. First-order cultivation effects are assumptions and expectations pointed at the occurrence of some phenomenon, for example, violence or political corruption. These are judgments we make about the world, like violence is normal or political corruption is rampant. Second-order cultivation effects are the attitudes, beliefs, and behaviors formed as a result of those judgments. For example, reluctance to go outside at night or increased disdain for politicians. Another term is cultivation differential. In Gerbner's framework, this refers to the space between heavy and light viewers' perception of social reality. It asks, to what extent does viewing cultivate beliefs that align with the media's presentation of reality? Then we have mean world syndrome. This is the tendency of heavy viewers specifically to perceive the world as more dangerous, hostile, and violent than it actually is. And finally, we have media literacy. Since cultivation theory's core assumption is that heavy media consumers are quick absorbers and easy believers of media's presentation of reality, essentially that they are more likely to be passive rather than critical thinkers, the best way to resist being cultivated by the media is to develop a strong defense through media literacy. This can be seen as a form of cognitive resistance. Without media literacy, media are free to dominate the symbolic universe of society and control the public consciousness. Thanks for listening.